Hi, today it's roast beef because it's a Sunday, right? So to start with, in my roasting tin I've got carrots, onions and some fat. That's called lard here, or you can use the goose fat, which is absolutely favourite, but I'm saving that for the roast potatoes because that is extra special. So the only other thing I need to add to that pan is some garlic. So just crush that a bit, pop that in the tin. This then goes into the oven to melt the fat, getting it ready then for your roast beef that's to come. Okay, we'll see how we get on now. The thing to do next, whilst that is cooking in the oven, is to peel your potatoes. Right, potatoes peeled. Now I estimate 3 potatoes per adult, so we have enough here with 1 to spare. Always have 1 to spare because one of these little ones is going to crush, it's guaranteed, so you've always got a spare one. So these now go into boiling water to parboil for 15 minutes. Next, carrot and parsnip. You need to chop these up. Again, after they're chopped, put them in a saucepan and they can be boiled until soft. Here we go. Cut the carrots up into small cubes. And then you need to do the parsnip. It's a hard vegetable, so you need a bit of strength to chop this one up. Again into cubes. Try to make them similar sizes to your carrots, then they're all going to cook around about the same sort of time. These could probably take about 20 minutes boiling. You just need to keep just sticking a fork in and testing to see if it's nice and soft, because when it's nice and soft you turn it off, leave it there with the water in until right before you're serving out, and then you'll be mashing it all together. This is something my mum used to do when I was little, and I carried it on with my 2. There we go, all ready for the saucepan. So as you can see, potatoes are in here boiling, and then the carrot and parsnip will start boiling in a moment. Okay. Right, this has been in the oven now, melted all the fat, started cooking the onions, etc. And what you're going to do now is just place your beef on top of the carrots and the onions. Just gives it a little bit of breathing space underneath to help with the cooking. Then I'm going to place some foil over the top. So as I say, get the foil, just gently push that in over the top and pop this back in the oven. 200 degrees for the oven, and that'll probably cook for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Keep taking it out, pouring the fat over the meat, and eventually towards the end you'll take the foil off and just let it crisp up a little bit. Right, so whilst the beef is in cooking, your potatoes are parboiling still and your carrot and parsnip are on, you need to make the Yorkshire pudding batter. So for that you'll need 2 eggs, some plain flour and some milk. So crack the eggs and the flour. Now I don't normally measure this, but today I've found a recipe. So I normally just do it by eye, but I'm putting in 100 grams of plain flour and then 300 millilitres of milk. Just mix this batter together and then you're just going to leave it sitting on the side. Room temperature is absolutely fine. Okay, and that's the batter for your Yorkshire puddings. Now we're going to take the water out of the potatoes because they're done. As you can see, the potatoes are done. So a little tip is to pop the lid on, just give them a gentle toss, just kind of give them a bit of fluffiness, and it's that bit of fluffiness mixed with the goose fat will make them lovely and crispy. Okay. Again, the potatoes are done, but I'm not actually doing anything with them. Leave them with the lid off, just lets them cool down just like that, and then your carrot and turnip are still cooking away here. As I said, they will take at least 20-25 minutes or so. They won't go in the oven for a long while yet, until the meat is halfway done. Whilst that's doing, you can prepare your tin, which is the same tin that I use to make the mince pies with. So this is great for your Yorkshire puddings. So you just need to get a good bit of fat in each one. And later on, when this goes in the oven, you heat up the fat, let it get really very hot. The hotter the better, because then when you pour in your batter, what you should hear is a sizzle and it's starting to cook already on the outside. That means you've got this pan at the correct temperature and your Yorkshire puddings will rise and become crispy and not soggy and horrible. Good luck! So now the carrot and parsnip has been cooking away. That's nice and soft. So that can be turned off, taken off the heat. Just leave it there until we're ready. See, potatoes are still here, they're absolutely fine. So the beef's been in for probably about 40 minutes. Just taking it out just to take a look. Now don't worry that all your bits and pieces at the bottom here, the vegetables, are burnt. You're not really going to be eating those, they were there for the flavouring. So let's just give the beef a bit of a stabbing. And then with the juices that you have, just gather them up, pour over the top. Wait, there we go. And we'll pop those back in the oven now for about another 15 minutes before I add the potatoes. Okay, so I've had to change my plan with the beef and the potatoes. Because I've only got two shelves in the oven, I'm going to put the potatoes in with the beef. As I say, it's perfectly fine. Just going to cover the beef because it's just starting to crisp up a bit too quickly. I'll put that back in the oven, and I've also put the fat in for the Yorkshire puddings. Now the fat is really hot, take out your Yorkshire pudding mix, which actually I put in the fridge to cool down. That's not sizzling. I'm not happy. That should be sizzling as it goes in. I could have made a mistake here, but it's too late now. I'm going with it. Basically, I've done 2 Yorkshire puddings each, so that goes back in the oven now. Okay, so I've now taken the beef out. I'm just going to let that rest there, and the potatoes, I'm just going to cover it again in some of the fat juices. And put back in the oven again to crisp up. Spread out so they can back in the oven. So it's just warmed through your carrot and parsnip. Now we're just going to drain off any excess water. Lovely. I'm going to pop in a nub of butter and some white pepper, or if not, black pepper, whatever you've got to hand, and then mash it all together until it's all smooth. And that is your carrot and parsnip. Okay, pop the lid back on, keep it warm, get ready to carve the meat. And here you have your roast beef carving nice and thin. Cut your beef. Now you're just in the pan that you had your beef and your potatoes and everything in, you're just using some of the juices and the goodness to make your gravy. So that's all doing. Now it's time to serve it all up. You'd just like to say the Yorkshire puddings worked out a treat. Thank you very much. And there you have your roast meal.